Well, good morning, everybody. Again, happy Thursday. Yes, it's that time. Another episode
Thursday.
of Elevating You. Here we go. Mike Mooney, Kraig, Kann. Thanks for joining us on Facebook, Kann Advisory Group Facebook. I think we're both sharing it to our own personal Facebook pages. So for those of you that are there, thanks. And we say this all the time. Go ahead, chime in, share your thoughts, whatever it might be. I think we have a cool topic today. How you doing, Mike?
I'm doing great, man.
What are you in,
Absolutely
a
great.
greenhouse?
I am. I'm shaking it up a little bit. This is actually our backyard at home in Charlotte. And no, totally kidding. Totally kidding. I'm up here this week at Pocono Organics. As you know, that's a big part of my life and what we're doing up here in Long Pond, Pennsylvania. So I decided to shake it up a little bit. Typically, when I'm up here and we're doing the show, I might be coming to you from a conference room, and I'm like, you know what? We're growing some great things out here in some of the greenhouses. I mean, we've got 380 acres of farmland, but we've also got about 40,000 square feet of indoor greenhouse space, which is helpful because we got about 3 inches of snow yesterday. So
Wow.
I just figured I'd come to you from the greenhouse. We're growing some great Thai basil behind me right now, and just shake it up a little bit.
Well, that's good, man. You look good. You got the logo. I mean, you're like a NASCAR driver. It's like you worked in the racing industry or something for a number of years.
There's something about that branding and brand placement, subtle as it is.
That's right.
You know,
that's right.
So forgive me for if the lighting's a little poor in here. It's because again, I'm in a greenhouse. So
well, for those that are joining us, they have no idea the work that's been put in over the last 25 minutes for Mike to turn himself around so the whole place wasn't back.
So when I hopped on for you who weren't involved, I hopped on. I said, Kraig, how do I look? And he's like, I think you're in the witness protection program. I can't even see your face.
Exactly.
So it's been.
I saw the crops. I saw the backdrop. I just did not see you. So that's that. Okay. Let's talk about where we are and what we're doing and all of that. The topics that we had the last time we got together. The topic was new job challenges, and man, did we ever get a lot of response last week? That was pretty cool.
That was a great conversation, man. I got to tell you, I mean, the people that were jumping in with questions, thoughts, ideas, it was absolutely one of the better, one of the better episodes. I just loved it. So hopefully today we'll get more folks jumping in and doing the same, because the topic today is going to be, I think, just as relevant and impactful.
Yeah, we're looking ahead to the new year, and we got some cool ideas. So last time, new job challenges, fitting in, finding your way, making an impact. And as we always do, we go back to a week ago and we talk about some of the questions that came to us. And we did get some, and we always pull a couple, and then we kind of revisit that and talk about whatever it was that people wanted to share. So you've got a couple of questions that you want to throw out, and I think they'll actually be, pretty helpful for some people. So go ahead. Who stood out to you?
I think so, man, so the one that stood out, I have two actually. So the first one's from Jane in North Carolina, home state. Thank you, Jane. Basically, Jane is saying this, I've been in a new job for 6 months. I'm trying to build my brand, but my boss doesn't see the value in that. What are some thoughts on how I can help him see the value? I think it's interesting, right? Because we're talking about getting in a new job, not only trying to fit in. That was last week's conversation of new job challenges, fitting in so that you can accelerate and elevate, right?
Yep.
And we've also done a lot of talk, and this is in both of our wheelhouses, of the importance of building your brand, of how you stand out and stand up. I mean, you have a book that you're launching, around that, right? So, so I think it's an interesting question, Kraig. What do you think? What do you think about Jane's situation?
Well, first off, Jane, I think it's a great question. So I think, honestly, that some CEOs get a little nervous if they pay close attention to perhaps somebody's social media post or what it is that they're pushing out, because they don't exactly know where it goes. They think that the person's not, committed to them. What also happens is that the people around you in your team or on your team also get a little bit nervous, going, wait a second, are they working for us? Are they working for them? What's going on here? Enough about them. And there's a little bit of a danger in there because, as Mike talks about a lot with reputation and brand and all that, people start thinking about you differently. And so you want to kind of control that and optimize it for the benefit of the organization and for the benefit of yourself long term. So here's what I would say. in the easiest way, I believe, and I've had conversations with CEOs about this, that a better brand for you, a better you, okay, creates a better brand for the organization. Any CEO that's afraid of you elevating yourself, making yourself potentially more recruitable or with better value, is a little bit insecure, in my opinion, because a company, in my thought process, should want a bunch of people who could be industry thought leaders that would actually be put up on a stage representing the industry and representing the organization. I think that there's great value in that. To do that, you've got to put yourself on a higher pedestal. You've got to share some of your top thoughts. You got to share a lot of things that are going on with you. So my advice would be this: just be careful about how you present yourself and all of that. Make sure you tell some stories. Make sure you share successes of the organization as you're pushing your brand out there via social media or whatever you might be doing. Make it about industry trends and trends within your work, and not just about you, the person. Here's what I did. Make it about, we helped this client, okay? And we came up with this innovative idea, or we did all these things. What does it do? It elevates you basically because of inclusion and makes you look like a leader or a thought leader or somebody that cares about clients, customers, and all of that, pushing yourself up and putting the company on the spotlight for the team and what you're able to give. That's what I would suggest.
Yeah, Kraig, I mean, 100% echo all of that. I just want to share two thoughts from my personal experience that I made that mistake many, many years ago when I had this idea of, hey, how can I stand out and stand up? And I actually went the other way, Kraig. I was really building my personal brand, and it didn't tie back to the company brand. And I got pulled into the president's office and saying, "What are you doing? What do you, this is not what we're looking for you to be doing." And it actually blew up and bit me in the tail on that, quite honestly. And I had another, I'll call him boss because he wasn't a leader, who sat me down and said, "I don't know what you're trying to do, but nobody's brand is bigger or better than mine." I realized at that point I was dealing with someone that was never going to embrace somebody trying to stand up and just wanted people to have their heads down and do the work. And that didn't last long in terms of that work relationship.
Yeah. I think we could have a whole topic on this.
Yeah.
This happened to me as well. I'll be pretty transparent about it. I actually wrote about it in the book, and I don't mean this in a negative way. I actually think it was a positive for me. But long before I ever started Kann Advisory Group, I had the opportunity. I had one day a week to do something, and this is that side hustle that we talk about, or doing something else. And I started a business called HTK Media, which stood for Have the Knowledge. It was a consulting group. And I started doing some of the things on that one day, didn't affect my other work. One day, where I could go give talks, or I could share some of my industry knowledge and all those different things. And I carried that in with me into my role as Chief Communications Officer at the LPGA. In fact, it was part of the conversation before I ever accepted the position. I said, "Hey, I've already started this. I don't want to lose it, because if I ever left the organization 5 years, 10 years, 20 years down the road, I want to be able to have my fallback. So I want to keep this." The problem with that is, if you start something else, if you're building your brand, you can't do anything with it unless you tell people that you have it.
Right.
So there's the problem is it's not that you're a huge self-promoter, it's that you need it out there, and it causes confusion. And it did cause confusion with some within the organization that were like, "Wait a second, did we bring this guy in to work for us, or is he doing something on his own?" Basically, I was only doing that, and I had to get approval for everything. It was all agreed upon at the very beginning. My goal, my everything was 100% focused on LPGA, Chief Communications Officer, all that. I loved it, man. I was all in, but I didn't want to let the other thing go. So there was a social media thing, and I blogged under that. I also blogged and did things for the organization. So anyway, it got to be a little bit of a confusing thing for people, and I had to drop the brand awareness way down. And quite frankly, it hurt me. It caused me to have to kind of refocus my energy, because I did generate secondary income off of that. But more importantly than any money, it was a brand that I was trying to just have and hang on to, and I didn't want it to just falter. So I think you have to be careful. I think you have to be sensitive, because any organization that brings you in, just as the LPGA did, they have a right to question that, you know? And your story is not that much different than mine. And I think you probably said the same thing. Hey, man, I am like all in. Like I love my job. No?
Yeah. I'm trying to actually help elevate and build and spread the good word of what we're doing here, you know. But I unfortunately ended up with one boss that was a little more too much on the ego side of things, and the other was just sort of like immaturity on my side, not really understanding. So I believe, like I said earlier, echoing all of your points, Kraig, is that as long as if you're building that brand and it's tied back to the business, which you can do, you can absolutely build your brand by building the business that you're working in, or the people that you're working, you know, alongside with or for. You can absolutely build that brand up, you know, but make sure that you're tying it back to the business. That'll keep you in a good space, and also keep you more marketable. Yeah,
this is a great. We need to do this as an entire topic, because I think a lot of people would be interested to talk about. The last thing I'll say on it, which is interesting to me, is that you know, if I was ever thought of, and nobody, like, I didn't have millions of conversations about this, but my job, my role was to do two things at the LPGA, and we had. I say this in my book. I tell the story because I'm proud of the organization and where it went, and it's still soaring under the dynamic leadership team that they have. We had some really great people, and I'm not just talking about on the executive level or the board level. We had a lot of other people, but my job was to raise the awareness of the brand of the organization through communication, strategic communications. That's what I got hired to do. But with that, I had to elevate the brands of the athletes, the players, the members, and give them a higher platform. So in effect, what I was doing, what might have been, people might have questioned, but I was trying to elevate them. And at the same time, if I got, like, as an example, interviewed by a magazine, or I did whatever, I would promote it. I would say, hey, you know, look at this interview that I did, because I was spreading the goodwill message of the organization. It wasn't me going on going, hey, let me tell you how great I'm doing. And that was never the intention nor the goal. But people don't see it that way. And I think people need to flip the script.
They do. And I think that gets back to, you know, we talk about the halo effect, right? That's something that I talk about, not only in reputation, but it also impacts with brand, where, you know, when you are building others up, then you are building out the brand of the organization. You're building your brand up and you're tying it back to the business. Then you're building up the brand of the organization and that halo benefit, you know, and it works in the other direction too, that if people are doing, you know, stupid things, it's going to impact the brand of not only yourself, but the organization and those who are associated. So, you know, you're right, Kraig. I think there are different ways to look at how are you building up and building out through other people, with yourself and your messaging. But I do believe we need to kind of, you know, dig deeper on that particular topic.
Okay, give us the second question, and then we'll move into today.
So this is an interesting one. Tom in Georgia, he wrote in, he's like, listen, I'm trying to make an impact, but my resources keep being cut. How am I supposed to be impactful without the resources I need? What do you think?
Okay.
I got a couple of thoughts on that, but I want to hear what you have to say.
I mean, I would say that's a challenge for everybody, especially right now, right? I mean, is there not a company that's saying, hey, we're going to slow this down. We're not going to do this anymore. I'm not giving you as much money to do this project or that project. I think then you have to be strategically creative in how you go about your workday, frankly, and how you can grow the business. The first thing that comes to my mind is make more connections, spend more time maybe on the phone. You might not have the resources to fly. You might not have the resources to do this marketing project, or put forth a, some sort of send out, or, you know, I don't know what it is, hire more people, you know, do more with less, all that sort of stuff. Okay. So social media is a very valuable tool. You need to rally everybody around what our story is. Let's push it out. Let's find ways to get that out. Let's build our network. Let's talk to more people, spend more time on the phone. Let's do web chats and conversations with industry influencers. Let's galvanize our troops. Let's bring everybody together and get everybody excited. And you know, there's a great opportunity when you don't have as many resources, you forget about the most important resource there is. That's the people.
Yeah.
So start investing in them. And let me go to you're going to make a laugh on this. Let's go to the 5 love languages, can we? And
Let's do it. Why not?
let's talk about time spent, okay? Or
Yep.
random acts of kindness. Why don't we start treating the people better? Why don't we start treating the people better, giving them opportunities to grow and be involved? To me, that's where you could invest. That's investing.
I love it. I love it. And not only investing, but also impact, right? The whole point is like, I'm trying to make impact. Where can I do it? And oftentimes we get caught up in, it's got to be in my work product and the work output. I understand that. That's the yardstick by which we are all measured, at the end of the day. However, impact can take on different forms. To your point, Kraig, it could be in the people. It could be rallying your customers, doing like a monthly little Zoom connect with your customers. Why not? Put it together.
Yeah,
it costs nothing. But what about creating impact in cost savings? What about creating impact in areas of efficiency? Maybe this is the time where you step back and you look at the process. Sometimes, listen, I've found this to be true, is that you can do more with less if you're creative and you start really being clear in what you're trying to get done. So maybe you can make impact, but it's in cost. Maybe it's in efficiencies. Maybe it's in your culture, right? Start looking at the different places where impact could live and aligning with that area. That's what I would say in that space.
Oh, I think that's terrific. So those were the questions from last week. Jane and Tom, Jersey, right?
You.
Jersey, Jane in Jersey.
No, Jane in North Carolina. Sorry,
Oh,
Jane in North Carolina. Tom in Georgia.
Okay, perfect. All right. Well, thanks to them. Let's get into today's topic. And I'm looking ahead because I know the holidays are right here. Christmas is right around the corner and all that. New Year is going to be here before you know it. Thank the good Lord for that. Okay. So I don't even know how many of these we're going to be able to do between now and the new year. So I did want to put this out there and let's get this one done. If we can knock out another one of these on a Thursday beforehand, great. We'll promote it. Get people to know we're going to do one. But so here's the topic: New Year, big new thing. And I'm having a little fun with this one. Play on words. That ball's going to drop. Although I don't know that they're doing a ball drop in New York this year. I know they're not allowing all these people to be there. But let's just say, for the sake of it, the ball's going to drop somewhere. Right?
For tradition. For tradition's sake.
And you can't drop the ball. Don't drop the ball. So that right there, new year, new big thing, and the ball drops, but don't drop the ball. So with that, Mike, your first impressions on the topic. I know you've got your 2 big things, and I've got my 2 big things. Those are coming. But what comes to your mind if there's anything you want to share off the top of your head?
Yeah, I mean, for me, when I think about that, and what I'm personally trying to do right now, Kraig, is find clarity, man. Find clarity. This has been such a year of anxiousness, anxiety, discomfort, uneasiness, finding yourself in places that it's like, oh my gosh, I've got so many different things going on. I'm really, when I think of that topic, right, of the new year, don't drop the ball, in my mind, I go right to clarity. I'm like, Mike, and every day, I'm meditating and it's finding this time to really try to get clear on what it is that 2021 can be for me and what I've learned from 2020 as well. Because I really believe that if we just try to throw out 2020 for what it was, I think we're missing a big opportunity and lessons that could actually help us in 2021 and beyond.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah.
The first thing I think about, which I'm trying to condition my mind to, and it's not easy. I'll tell you right now, man, I've gone through some bouts of questioning and depression like a lot of other people. I mean, when you spend 35 years of your career flying on airplanes, whether it be to a golf tournament somewhere in the States or Canada or around the world, as I have done for a number of years, producing and hosting shows, or working with an organization and a bunch of people, and then suddenly I'm sitting in an office, quite frankly, in a new home where COVID has hit so hard that subcontractors and workers can't do the things that need to be done in a house. And I'm sitting here going, man, I'm not traveling. I'm not doing my talks. I'm not doing my workshops because people can't get together. It's difficult. So what I've tried to focus on is, all right, where are we going with this, and what's it going to be? And so, if I had $5 for every pivot that I've made in my own head over the last 6-8 months, I would be owning this live stream, or a bigger shareholder in Pocono, and everything that you've got. I'd be tossing you money. So
Thank you.
I think
Thank you.
I've had to challenge myself. You talk about clarity. I'll talk about confidence in what I'm doing, confidence in what I'm delivering, confidence that I'm talking to the right people, confidence that this is going to turn around. As it's turned out, if I want to look at something positive, I'm going to say, my gosh, you know what this year gave me? It gave me a lot of time. It gave me a lot of time to focus on my book. It gave me a lot of time to focus on making my presentations better. It gave me time to focus on some new projects, some new ways of doing things, some ways of helping people through some things, and friendships. So yeah, I guess you could say that's clarity as well. But
but I like the word confidence in that too, because when we're coming from a place of confidence rather than a place of fear or lack, it's a completely different game. It's a completely different approach to your day, your interactions, your opportunities to serve and create value. So man, you're talking about that, and I'm thinking, there's clarity, but you're right. There's also like the action too, because I've gone through that as well, man. I've been in those places where I'm like, I don't know how. I feel like I'm falling more behind than I am even trying to stay afloat, And then I'd be like, I say, we'll make some phone calls, reach out to some people, like the things that we've been talking about, right? Of really reconnecting. Where can I serve? Coming up with new material, coming up with a way to take what I've got, but make it applicable to today. And it's amazing, within like a week and a half's time, like suddenly activity starts, and you're like, okay, we're back in this. Yeah.
So questions you can fire at us, Kann Advisory on the Facebook page. Just go live. Mike usually is on his phone.
I'm on now. I think
he's checking it out.
Our friends need another cup of coffee to get up. We're a little quiet in here. So come on, jump in, ask some questions, drop some thoughts.
info@kannadvisory.com is another way that you can send us those things. The last thing that I'll say on my first impression is, and I talk about this quite a bit, is finding a way to serve others. I mean, I think that is one thing. When 2021 hits, there has to be, because I think we've spent so much time thinking and worrying about ourselves and what we're going to do, and there are a lot of people that are stressing. I had this story that I saw of a guy that I used to work with at Sirius XM, and long story short, he left the organization and he was looking for the new thing, and he did whatever he could do to make ends meet while he was looking for that next thing. And he didn't even want to tell people that he was doing what he was doing. I'm not going to share what his job was that he was doing. That's his business, but he did whatever he could do. And then that job changed, and then he was looking for something else, and people aren't hiring, and there's so much inner stress. And now all of a sudden he's landed this great position that he's really excited about, that's right in his wheelhouse, and I'm super happy for him. I sent him a personal message. My point is that we're all of us are thinking about us right now, and that's fine. That's good. There's a lot that needs to happen with that. But how you can serve others is a great way to serve yourself as well. So that would be my other, opening thought and first impression on this topic. So with that, the topic today is New Year, big new thing. What are some big thoughts, some big ideas when the ball drops or doesn't drop? But we want making sure that you don't drop the ball. That's where our head is today. And as we always do now, Mike's got his big two. All right. New year, some new focal points, things that you need to think about. We're going to take them one at a time. Mike and I have talked about this a little bit and shared. So here you go. The first one. Happy New Year to you already, but your big new thought, the word intentionality. Go ahead.
Yeah, intentionality. If you've been watching the episodes or you read content that I have on social media, you know that I'm really big on being intentional and really focusing in on what it is that you're doing. Why are you doing it? And then more importantly, really thinking about, is it driving me toward the goal that I've set in place, or is it a bit of a distraction? And I really believe, like, for me, as I'm looking at 2021 for myself personally, so I'm coming from a personal space on this
Yep.
right now, Craig, is that I'm thinking about, again, mindset, very, very intentional in my mindset, and thinking about the ways that aspects of emotion play into that. How does emotion either become a catalyst for me or an anchor, right? In the work that I'm trying to do, the impact I'm trying to create. I think about the areas of control. We talked about that earlier. You know, in times when we're in environments where things are out of our control, it's natural for us as humans to want to start to try to control things. And I've just found throughout my life and career that the more I try to control things, the more they just spin out of control, and I'm more frustrated, more angry than I was before. So it's understanding for me mindset in emotion and control, and what that plays in my life and how I can use that to my advantage. Because really the only things I can control are my attitude, my decisions, and behavior. That's it. That's it. And how I want to meet the world. The other area of intentionality that I would encourage people to think about, and I'd invite you to really kind of take some stock in this now before we hit 2021, are our habits, right? Being intentional in our habits, thinking about what habits have served us well in 2020, what new habits have picked up that have served us or maybe not served us, or what are the habits that maybe have fallen off that were serving us that aren't, right? Really trying to dig into that, get a little more introspective in where you are to prepare for 2021 so you can get those habits that are working for you back into play.
Yeah, intentionality. That ties in greatly with one of the topics that I'm going to come up with here in just a few minutes. So there you go. There's one of Mike's big new thoughts is intentionality. Hopefully everybody understands that, and share your comments right here on the Facebook page. We want to hear what you have to say about that topic right there, about that conversation and being intentional. And I think a lot of people, by the way, I will say one thing about intentionality. I read this one time, so this is not my thought, but I'm going to spin it. And that is, a lot of people want to focus and tell you all the things they're going to do.
Yes.
And I think people need to hold off on that and just deliver and let the results speak for themselves and do the talking. Because more often than not, people don't actually get those things done. They're just talkers. That's what I find. And
100%.
I've been, in that boat. I say, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And they go, man, I got so much time. I can't possibly get all these things done. And I lose the focus. Well, I look like kind of a dope at that point because I've already shared that I'm going to get this done. And this is going to be one of my big topics and our focal points. And it doesn't happen. So I think we need to slow down. Don't talk so much about all the great things you're going to do. Just do them. Just put in the work. Be intentional about putting in the work. All right, Mike.
I love it. Well, before you hop off that, my dad used to call those the gonna do's. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. And that was actually the catalyst. And Craig, the catalyst for me writing my book was that whole thing where my wife Krista came to me one day and said, "Hey, how's that book coming along? You've been talking a lot about it. You've been talking about this book for years. Where is it?" And I came up with every excuse you could think of. I said, "I'm busy, I'm traveling, I'm here, I'm there." And she said, "Okay, so there's no book. Let's just stop talking about it, until you have one." And that kind of lit the fire in me. But I love that. Show me. Don't tell me.
A goal without a plan is just a wish.
Yeah.
A goal without a plan is just a wish. So you better be intentional about figuring out what that plan is and then putting that plan into action. All right, here's the second one for you. As you plan your new year, your big thought, impact versus busyness.
Yes. So here's the thing. And I never really thought of this, Craig, until I went out on my own as a solopreneur. And I realized very quickly that when you don't have the comfort of the biweekly steady paycheck coming in, that for 25 years I was conditioned to whether I was doing a good job or a bad job, man, that my bank account told me every other week, "Hey, you're doing fine," because the money's there, right? When you're out there on your own, I realized quickly that there is a huge difference between busyness and impact. And I started to reflect on that from the work that I have been doing in my career and thinking that that my busyness was actually impact. Oh my gosh, I went through, 80 emails today. I had 15 meetings I was going into. I had, all
Yeah.
these conference calls. Wow, I'm busy. Fantastic. Show me the impact. What was done that was actually driving the business forward? And I really believe that it was that time for me that I realized that when I had to busyness could be when I was out there starting was going to coffee shops and meeting up with people and trying to build the network out. But it's always like the impact. So what is that delivering? Where is that going? And there's nothing wrong with building your network because it could deliver. You're planting seeds as you go. But the point is, oftentimes we trick ourselves into thinking that our busyness equals impact because we keep getting paid for it. So my encouragement here is for folks to think about in 2021, where are those areas in your work or your life that's really busy, or is it really driving impact? And really kind of being honest with yourself.
Let me stop you for a second. By the way, nice use of planting seeds as you sit in front of a bunch of crops behind you. Okay,
Thank
so
you.
there are a lot of people that are like, I have a 9 o'clock today, I have a 10 o'clock meeting, and then I have a lunch, and then I have a 1 o'clock, and I can't get anything done. And they start to question, and to them, I would say, you know what you've got? You've got a job, not a career. You're just doing things to fill the space during the day. There are so many companies that waste time with meetings and they don't get things done. They don't make relationships. They don't actually, it's all about the dollar and the bottom line and the next, marketing partner, the next this, that, as opposed to making people feel great about the product you're selling or the person that you are or the team that you have, and they don't focus on the right thing. So I love that, impact versus.
Well, that's just, I really, it was something when people ask me, like, what's one of the biggest lessons you learned when you went out on your own? That's one of the top 3 that I always put out there. There was a huge difference between busyness and impact. And oftentimes you don't truly recognize it until your paycheck counts on that.
Yeah. Who's your next boss? So there you go. Mike's big thought, impact and busyness, and the other one being intentionality. So both of them very good. Mike, I'm going to let you share today about this. And we don't have Jill with us today.
I know.
She's busy doing today's show and all this other stuff. So you talk about this.
No, this is exciting, and I have been so excited about this program that we're doing with Jill, Kraig, and myself on this idea of a transformational opportunity in these areas that are so important for our brands, our sales, our teams, right? As we're looking at the evolution, right? The elevating opportunities that we have. So we've come up with a program. It's called Present to Win. It's a webinar series where we're crossing our fingers. We can do it in person, maybe sometime in 2021, maybe Q2, maybe we can get back on the road and do this in person, but we're offering it up in a virtual space, a safe place. But it is so valuable because the impact for teams is threefold. Typically, when you look at training and professional development, we're looking at one particular skill set or skill development area. It might be just sales. It might just be presenting. It might just be your brand. But in this particular combination, the magic happens when Kraig and Jill and I come together to deliver those 3 key areas to teams and organizations to help them elevate up. So, this is something where we're very passionate about, as you can tell. It's something that's clearly been in our wheelhouse of not only expertise, but our careers, that we want to bring this knowledge forth for teams to transform and really have action-oriented strategies leading from it.
Give us an hour, give us 90 minutes, whatever that time. We customize it to your company, your team. And they can be in Portland, they can be in New Jersey, they can be in Montana, they can be in Chicago.
Or just Singapore, put them together. Or the UK.
There you go. And we're excited to be able to bring it to you. So that's pretty cool.
And you'll learn more about Kraig's green shoe too.
Yeah, there you go. Get that green shoe. All right, time for me to toss out my big 2. New year, new focal points. Now, for you talked about mostly the thought process and some things and some ideas to kind of get people moving forward. I want to focus a little bit. I want to spin it a little bit of a different way. And I'm going to talk more about not dropping the ball in 2021 and ways to not drop that ball. By that, I mean, look, you've got this opportunity in front of you. What are you going to do with it? Okay. So Mike talks about intentionality and making an impact, not just being busy. All right. So to not drop the ball and let 2021 control you, right? A lot of times, and I talk about this within the industry, are you following the industry or are you setting a new course where others will follow? You know, who's leading here? Basically the comment. And I think you've got to lead yourself. So the first thing I'll say, and I know this is, trendy and, cliche and all that, but network ASAP. Okay. Like yesterday. And I talk a lot about this in the book that I wrote that's coming out in January. More on that in a minute. But networking is huge. So to Mike's point of intentionality and to Mike's point of, I don't know, getting involved and getting people to, to take part and all that sort of stuff. We've got to be intentional about the people that we can bring in to become our followers, to become our loyalists, to become our supporters, to understand our story, our brand, our company, our organization. And you can't do a ton getting on airplanes, taking a train into the city, driving your car to meet with everybody because of this pandemic that we're in. But, I can sit at my desk here and I've got a web camera and I don't even do most of my meetings anymore via the phone. Okay. I'm using this so I can connect with people in a different way. So you've got to start going, all right, you know what I want to do? I want to try to meet, this sounds like a very low number, but let's think about this for a second. If you were intentional about connecting with two people each month, like truly connecting with two people. How many is that? That's only 24 at the end of the year, 25 people to add to your network that perhaps you could serve or share or whatever it might be. That's not a high number. It doesn't require a lot of time. The way I do it is I spend usually one day a week. It's usually on Fridays, and I say I'm gonna make the next hour and a half a reach out hour where I'm reconnecting or connecting with people. I'm not asking for anything. I'm not pitching my stuff. I'm just, how you doing? Checking in. What's going on in your world? That way, I am starting to understand in conversations with CEOs what's important to them right now in what they're going through. Who are they helping? What are the struggles? What are the pain points of their employees? And that's where I've gotten a lot of help and a lot of understanding that people are staring out the window, not knowing if they're even going to have a job. And that a CEO told me, hey, my greatest challenge in 2021 is going to be communication. Well, great. Love that topic. It's one that I really enjoy.
You know a thing or two about it. It's a stretch, maybe.
So you've got to make your people feel good. So networking to me is big. That is something that you can do and you can jump on immediately. What are your thoughts on that?
No, I could not agree more, Kraig. I've got a good friend of mine. I've told you this story before. Bob Bodine and Transparency wrote the foreword for my book. An amazing, amazing man. But he told me several years ago that every Friday he closes the office for business at noon. People still stayed in the office, but they spent from noon until the end of the day calling people in their network, checking in on people they haven't talked to in a while. And he said over time, he started tracking that their day for the most new business became Fridays between 12 and 4. And I become a big believer, again, in being intentional, that if you were to carve out 90 minutes a week, 90 minutes a week, and that could be a half hour on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. You reach out to 3 people every week. At the end of the year, 144 people that you've reconnected with in your network. You don't think that's going to be powerful for not only opportunities to serve, but opportunities for you to grow? Yeah. No way. You can't tell me that that's not going to be a benefit. Can't tell me that. Yeah,
no, I agree. I think that's awesome. By the way, he's a target for me for my podcast in 2021.
Really? Well, if you need an in, if you need some way to get him, I'm sure you have your ways.
So much to share. And
amazing, man.
That's really good. So okay, so that first one there, networking for me is big, and I think everybody needs to do that. Now, the other one that I want to talk about is the following, and it's about taking stock. And I'm not talking about stock options. I'm not talking about, adding to your portfolio in that regard. This is an option, however. If you're going to start taking notes and making notes and journaling, and I would highly recommend journaling. Challenge yourself to do this. In 2021, why don't you write something down? It could be once a week, all right? And I when I coach CEOs, I have a couple that I'm working with right now about how they present themselves, executive presence, and all of those things. And they want to put their brand out, and they want to be coached on how to present it, in what ways, and what platforms. So we talk about that, and we basically take stock of who they are, what they want to be known for, what their purpose is as an organization. Like, you have to start answering some tough questions, because if you're just going to throw, I've got a microphone now, I'm going to start doing, video blogs, vlogging, whatever, putting stuff out there. Well, what are you going to talk about? Now, you could just turn on the mic and just start talking about what's going on, but I think you have to be purposeful in what you do. So I would suggest that you take stock of yourself. All right, where am I strong? Where am I weak? What am I adding? What is, make a call to your boss and go, hey, what are the things you've noticed about me? Be honest here. Tell me where I've hit the mark and where I could improve. And ask a few people, see if there's commonalities there. But we have to take stock. Like, I constantly, Mike, am taking stock of my workshops, my keynotes, reworking them. Yeah. Like yesterday, I sent off an email with a bunch of new slides that I want to have built based on new topics that I will be talking about through my book and through other things. Like, always trying to improve and be a step ahead, not following the curve, but setting the curve. So I think people need to take stock in themselves. They need to take stock in what they're doing, and they need to find a way to, here's the other thing. This is important. I think we have to find a way to market that stuff. So going back to the conversation that I had about, the CEO, okay, now once we've gotten our things down there of what your purpose is, what you want to be known for, we come up with these topics, and then we have subtopics, and those become things that you can post 45 seconds, or maybe it's a thought that goes on to social media. Maybe it's a LinkedIn that you want to connect better. I always try to work with people to figure out what the best platform for them is, because they don't know. I think there's a statistic, the average person is tied into, doesn't mean they use them all, 7 different social media platforms. Okay, but how many of those are actually ones that they're making an impact with? Like, reassess that,
Are you participating? Right. Are you participating, or are you just sort of on the sidelines?
Exactly. So I've got this guy that I'm working with in New York City, and we've got this project that we're working on together. And we have a clear strategy of how we want to use LinkedIn and different groups and all that. So you have to target and figure out where. That means taking stock of, am I doing this the best way? Could I do it better? Thoughts?
Yeah. I'm going to reflect and share on an exercise I just went through in August and September. And I'll challenge you to do this too, Kraig, okay? Because I found this to be immensely helpful to me. And the idea came to me for this exercise through a mentor of mine, because I was at a place, and I've told you this, and be completely transparent with our friends who are tuning in, that I'm trying to fine tune some of my messaging and my brand position, because it evolves, right? My brand and the value and the impact I'm trying to deliver has evolved from February of 2018, when I pivoted out from my role in motorsports to start this new platform, this new world for me, and it was really challenging. I was getting too much into my head, and my mentor said to me, which I would really highly recommend everybody either identify, find, connect, get a mentor, someone who's going to tell you, what you need to hear, not just what you want to hear.
Exactly.
And this person told me, said, Mike, why don't you try this exercise? Go out to people who have hired you, people who have worked with you, people who know you, a couple of different segments, and ask them these 3 questions. If you were to introduce me to someone, how would you introduce me? What is it that you say that I do? And what would you say the value and impact that I deliver would be? So how would you introduce me? What is it that I do? And what's my value and impact?
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, man, I did that with 25 people, and I'm grateful for the folks who participated and helped me out. And I told them, hey, I'm doing a little exercise for myself here, so I let them know what was going on. But what it allowed me to do was to see where are there gaps in maybe I see myself some way, right? It gets back to that phrase, I love. It's hard to read the label when you're inside the jar. It allowed me to see, are there gaps in the way that I'm seeing myself or the value I'm delivering, or are there trends that I can build on, to actually reinforce and create some momentum with this? And it was really amazing, the feedback.
Go through those again. How would you introduce me?
How would you introduce me?
Yep. The second one
is what would you say that I do?
Yep. What do I do?
And then what's the impact? What's the impact that I deliver? So to put that together, it would be like, hey, this is my friend Kraig, right? And Kraig's got a long career in communications and helping people put their brands together. In fact, that's what he does now. He's out there, he's got his own consultancy, and he helps people like you and I figure out how to build our brand to stand up and stand out. And I got to say, the impact that he delivers has really been amazing, because he helps people find the confidence they didn't know they had, helps people find the voice they didn't know that they had in them, create the messaging that helps them really move forward in their career and their life. Right. I mean, that's kind of a simple example.
I appreciate it.
But I mean that. I mean that sincerely. Like, if I were to do that for you, that's what I would say. But if you do that over the course of like 15, 20 people, you'll start to see like, wow, I didn't realize that this impact was there. I didn't realize that value point was there. I didn't realize that people saw me this way and not that way. So it's a great exercise that we can all do, not only as a solopreneur, but even in your own business.
That's terrific. That's terrific. And that's a part of my workshop. We have the word on the street segment where people talk about, what others think of you. And before I or when I coach people on it, if I was spending some time with you, and I've seen your talks on video, but I haven't seen it in person yet. We always start with the end goal first, and it answers these questions. How would somebody go talk about you? What would they say? What would the impact be of the message that you just delivered? If you don't start with that, what do I want people to say? What do I want people to remember? Most importantly, how do I want people to feel about the impact that I made? If you can start with that, you go, okay, now I can figure out what my message is going to be today and how I'm going to get that standing ovation, perceived live or whatever in their minds. That's a really important thing. So taking stock and then marketing that to other people. Want to take a moment and share a couple of things that I think are pretty cool. Give Mike a chance to talk about it, because there is the book right there, which Mike spent like 175 hours reading in an audio booth, right? That's how that all happens.
It felt like it, man. It felt like it. But
great holiday gift opportunity right here. Still waiting for mine, Mike. I'm going to text you my address today.
Well, you need to. I don't even know where I'm sending it, and in fact, I don't know if COVID's going to allow it to get down to you by mail either. Who knows how things are going? But anyhow, this is great. If you're looking for a resource for yourself or somebody else in your circle of life that's looking to, invest in themselves, specifically in the area of their reputation, one of our greatest assets in today's hyper-connected world. This book is absolutely going to hit the mark for you. It comes from my 25 years in professional motorsports and the high-pressure, high-performance world, where I worked with, high-level teams, drivers, championship caliber people, all in this space of how do you build, manage, and strengthen it, and oftentimes to repair, that reputation. So if you're looking for that roadmap, the tips and the strategies and the tips that you can apply today, please, I'd encourage you to download the book. You can get it on Audible, iTunes, and Amazon. And if you want the physical copy of the book, then you can go to my website at mikemooney.com and buy it there, and I'll sign it for you.
There you go. All right, I got some cool.
Here's yours, man. Yes.
And this happened this week, okay? And I posted something on LinkedIn. I'm so grateful, first off, for Kathy Teets and the team at Headline Books, not only for for believing in me and the vision that I had about the book. But for, as a first time author, and you went through the same thing, helping me with all the things I didn't know. I mean, like, I have learned so much about myself, about time management, about putting things together and what I needed to do and proofreading and all those different things. But she notified me just the other day, because the book comes out January 19, 2021. But it's available for pre-order now on Amazon. Okay, so it's been up there on Amazon, and she wants to climb the charts and see where this goes on the bestseller. Well, she notified me that Amazon just reached out and said, "Hey, we want to place this big order for books." And I'm like, "Wow, seriously?" So that's pretty cool. Wow, apparently, people are ordering it, and they need to have their inventory, if you will, to do
that's
that.
Awesome, man. Congratulations.
Kind of flattering, and I'm very thrilled about that. So to all those out there, the book is called Can You Get Our Attention? And basically the premise of it is this: we are all distracted. We are all struggling to try to get our message heard. We all want to be heard. I mean, think of every relationship that you have, and how many times you said, "I just want to be heard." Okay, well, everybody is talking today. Everybody's got a message. Everybody thinks their brand is great. Everybody thinks their product is great. How do you bust through? How do you use platforms like social media, to elevate and create awareness and amplify that message that you have? How do you use strategic communication to benefit you? How can you become a better presenter? Presentation skills is another topic in the book. And storytelling is so big, and the effective use of stories to get our message across and talk with people and not just at people. And I felt like, Mike, if I'm going to do all that and coach people on the importance of storytelling, I better share my own. So in the book, Can You Get Our Attention? I share my story, my journey, all the way back to when I was a kid growing up in Chicago and all the way through to now. And the value, not just the successes, but the failures and the challenges that I've gone through and how it's helped me, because I think everybody can relate to that. So Can You Get Our Attention? Available now on Amazon, and it comes out live and shipped January the 19th. So there's an opportunity over the holidays as well. So I'm
so proud of you. I'm so proud of you, man, on that. 'Cause I know that it's something that was in you, and you had to work your guts out to bring it to life. And that's just awesome to see how it's coming together.
Yeah,
great.
I appreciate it very much. So a couple of holiday items for you. Hopefully you will check into that and place a couple of orders. That would be awesome. Okay. And more importantly, I think more than anything, Mike and I appreciate your support. Whether you buy the book or you don't buy the book, you've spread the word and help share that it's out there. That's what we'd appreciate more than anything. That, at least for me. All right. Don't know our next time we're going to get together. Hopefully it's next Thursday, but this is the topic next time. And it's a new spin on a topic we've had before, but it goes with what we were just talking about. Okay. And I think this is right up your alley as well. Now, I talk a lot about the brand happening, or your brand being what happens, not when you're in the room, but once you leave. So in 2021, we're going to talk about this here the next time we gather, which is building a bold new brand. And it goes back to the comments from Jane and Tom that we talked about at the very beginning today, where there might be some nervousness in doing that. But more along the lines of what you want people to say about you when they aren't even asked about you. Okay. In other words, creating conversation that is shareable. That's the topic the next go around. You like it?
Yeah, I do. I do a lot, because it also then ties into another topic that's near and dear to my heart, which is reputation. And, I tell people when they say, well, Mike, how do you define reputation? Simply this: your reputation is what other people say when you aren't there, to speak for yourself. So, it's no different than your brand. What do you want people to say? And how can we be, here's this word again, the I word, intentional in the brand reputation that we're building in this new year? I think it's awesome.
So there you go. There's the topic for the next go around. And with that, I'm gonna allow you to get back to all the work that you're doing up there in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, man, I got more seeds to plant up here and weeding to do, and I got to get into no, I don't have any of that. We've got an amazing team of people up here. We're growing. But we're going to get back to it. But I would invite people into this conversation of looking into yourself, starting with you. If you think about the comments and the messaging and the things that Kraig and I have been talking about, and Jill, when when we have her with us as well, is it's all starting from here, starting from you inside of how you're seeing yourself, seeing the world around you, and then moving toward action, right? And action in the plan. So I invite you to step into that with us.
And with that, I say, Mike, have a great day. To all of you who joined us on Facebook today, the Kann Advisory Facebook page, thank you. You can check us both out on LinkedIn. Hopefully we can make a connection that way. Send us your questions, your comments. Feedback is what helps this thing go and grow. And we love sharing that. So I hope you're all having a great holiday season. Thanks so much for some time here on this particular Thursday morning. And we will do it again soon. Mike, have a good one, buddy. Take good care, okay?
You too, brother. Be good. Thanks, everyone.
All right. Thanks, everybody.